been a hot minute, a long while. Did you have a good holiday?
Yeah, I was in Alabama. It was good.
Sweet. Yeah, you
My
get the roast pig and everything. That looked
y-
awesome.
yeah, it was a lot. My family was like, "Jake, we don't have a bedroom for you." And I was like, "What?" And my dad's like, I got the RV all cleaned up. So I had to sleep in like this camper with flat tires. It was fun though.
Let's just get right into it then. I guess we'll talk a bit about Godzilla minus one, and then work our way backwards in the timeline of stuff. Um,
I had to
yeah,
read a little plot synopsis of Godzilla again because I saw it in IMAX. Did you see it in
yeah,
IMAX?
I did. Yeah,
And we were like kind of close, and I haven't seen an IMAX movie in years, so it was like so overwhelming. But I turned to my coworker who I saw it with. I said, "After this experience, I'm so happy I didn't see Oppenheimer in IMAX."
I'm never doing this again.
Like, I want to tell that to Christopher Nolan. Be like, "Man, I'm so happy I didn't see it. That would have been awful."
Was your IMAX screening, was it crowded? Did you guys have like a big audience? Because mine, I was surprised that like my theater was almost full. Like everybody was coming out to see this movie.
Yeah, I saw it Wednesday at 8. It wasn't packed, but it was like, yeah, more than half.
Okay. Yeah. I think that kind of speaks to, well, we'll get into a lot of different things, but I think people have been craving this kind of Godzilla story
Yeah.
I guess in the last decade or so. Like this is just something that was earned.
Oh yeah, man. This movie kicks ass.
This is
I was like, from the very opening scene of the movie, I was like, oh yeah. I was like, they got it.
yeah.
It was like, our main character is a kamikaze. I was like, oh yeah.
It's about to get real.
Yeah.
Is that why is it called? So what is minus one? What is that in reference to? Do you know?
I think the implication was that since it's post World War II, Japan is starting at 0 since
Okay.
they've been destroyed, and Godzilla just brings it to minus one. Which, if they make a sequel, I think Godzilla 0 would be a sick title.
Oh yeah,
That'd be cool.
sounds like a fancy Monster or Prime energy drink they'll make out of it. Like Godzilla 0 right now.
0 sugar, baby. He's like super jacked.
That's okay. So this is by far. I don't know if like this is like the meanest and like grittiest and like most gnarly looking Godzilla I think we've seen in, I don't know, not since like 2000. I don't know. This is insane. Like how just like jacked and ripped and just mean he is in this.
Yeah, I don't think his like design, when you look at it, I still think the Shin Godzilla one was like super freaky, but this Godzilla is like super pissed off, and he's always like putting stuff in his mouth.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff goes in his mouth in this movie. Like there's the train, then he's like picking people up. There's the mines.
He's just eating now. Like he's just like
Yeah, very mouthy Godzilla. I really thought, Godzilla's personality came through in this one, and he was just pissed the whole time.
uh-huh. And he's really only in it for like 15 minutes when you really break it down. Like he doesn't have like a ton of screen time that you would think he would have. Not, at least not as much as Shin Godzilla.
Yeah, and I remember that complaint also was with the 2014 Gareth Edwards one. And Shin. It seems like every time they do come out with a Godzilla movie, people complain about the screen time.
But the difference between that and then like the American version is they're not doing the whole cheap trick of like, oh, we're not going to reveal him yet, or like it just like immediately like, okay, we know that's Godzilla, we recognize it immediately. It doesn't wait around or like waste any time. It's like you know what you're in for. Like,
oh yeah, that's what I was saying about the opening scene. I mean, you hear his footsteps, so you know he's coming. But then I remember they like the guys on the island shine the flashlight on him, and Godzilla's just like, man, yeah, I really like that too. Setting this same thing you're talking about with the reveal is this movie doesn't dwell on Godzilla's origins. It doesn't really give an explanation. You just kind of have this. Well, I really like the setup because in the very first 1954 Godzilla movie, the people that live on this island. I don't know what it's called, but they know about Godzilla, and he's a local island legend.
Yeah.
Just like the way they introduced him in this one.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that he was smaller, a little more realistic, and then the bomb makes him huge, which was another thing that was kind of just breezed over. It's like everybody knows he gets nuked and gets huge. Just get out of the way.
Yeah, yeah. And it does go through some of the same like familiar ropes, like, well, okay, our missiles are not really doing much to penetrate him. I don't know if this has always been a thing, but like he can now like regenerate, I guess. I used to think like Godzilla just couldn't like, I thought he was just always indestructible. Like he would never even like shed like skin or something like that. But
I think it was in, yeah, I know he has had regenerative powers before, but they've never shown it like that fast.
Okay.
Like usually it's like Godzilla gets blown up, then he goes into the ocean, and then when he comes back, he's okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, this Godzilla, man, he could take everything.
I was the whole sequence when they are on the mining boat and they're just trying to like just stall him, I guess, in a way, but still try to get away from him. That whole sequence was like terrifying.
Oh yeah,
he's just so, his eyes are just so hard locked on them, like he's focusing like a predator. Yeah, I think I guess just every aspect to this new version of Godzilla, like he's just not, he's a villain again. He gets to be the monster, the main threat, and be I guess a thing that ties everything together for the Japanese human arc. Which the other thing, we talked about briefly was that was the biggest surprise, was how invested I was in these characters compared to like past movies.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't the first Godzilla movie to have interesting characters, in my opinion. Like I like the characters in the first one.
Yeah.
I like the main weather guy in Godzilla 2000.
Yeah.
But I think what this movie, I feel like it took like the Jaws approach. It really kind of like recontextualized the relationship of the characters to Godzilla. There was a real personal, like the main character really hated Godzilla.
Yes. There was like a personal, I mean, like all those pieces lined up because there was like a personal vengeance aspect to it, like right from the start, because I mean it's a classic tale of like a guy who kind of acts out of cowardice, but then learns like over the course of the film that he kind of owes it to his family and the people that he lives with and works with and is around, that like he's got to make the ultimate sacrifice. But then it throws you in for a loop again, because it makes you think it's going to be like this really nihilistic kind of like dark sour ending, but like everybody makes it out okay. It's actually kind of an uplifting, sort of like soaring ending, which I was not expecting.
I was thinking about it. I was like, did anyone die in that end battle? And I was like, no. But then I was like, oh yeah, they did, because the battle started with like that submarine being thrown into the building. I was like, oh yeah, they're all dead.
It's like there's like a cutaway scene, like they're not coming back.
Yeah. This movie was good. It was great. I thought all the acting was really good, especially for the main guy.
Oh yeah, when he's like just wallowing and screaming at like Godzilla after he just like nukes like half of like Japan in that one scene.
I was not expecting the atomic breath to be that.
I think this is like the biggest comic breath he's ever like committed on film, as far as I.
Yeah, if they do another one, he's gonna destroy the whole country.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think going back to it, that's another thing, especially after like Shin Godzilla, which is so nihilistic, so depressing.
Yeah,
how uplifting this one was.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I knew they were going to use the original score again too, and
Mm-hmm.
I liked how it sounded like it was just like a slightly remixed version of just from the original film, but it was pretty on point with what I remember. But I was going to say, like, even if they didn't put the original score in there or any of the mixtures of the different score, the OST of this film is actually pretty good on its own. I actually was really like swept up in it as well. Like I think they used the trailer music at one point, one of the action scenes, but it just keeps like, it ramps up, like especially in that climax.
Yeah, and I think the music during the water sequence where he's shooting the mines in Godzilla's mouth, I remember the music being pretty subdued there.
Yeah,
just relying on the sound effects and stuff. But yeah, it has like a cool I don't know, it's kind of like ambient, like doom approaching sound to it.
Yeah, I remember
Impending doom.
I was listening to the soundtrack like on my car ride home, just being like, "Wow, this really slaps."
Yeah, I think that's like one of the biggest compliments is how much of the Godzilla specific things just work in this movie, like even separated from the rest of the franchise. Like, yeah, even if that wasn't the classic Godzilla music, it would have been awesome in the movie either way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it just found like all the right beats, I guess. I don't know who composed it, but I hope they get 10 Oscars out of this.
Yeah, I mean, they should definitely get nominated for a lot of awards, but I don't give a shit about those anymore.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 superstars.
Yeah, I gave it 4.5 on Letterboxd. I think the only reason why I didn't make it 5 stars was okay, this is like a nitpick, but it's like, did you notice how every scene or almost every scene had to always end in like a fade to black? I was like,
there were so many fade outs.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I'm like counting like 10 of these now. I'm like, are we ending here or what's going?
I think if I had any negative is that yeah, I think there was a little like towards the third act. I wouldn't say I was bored, but I was ready to see Godzilla again.
Yeah,
that's for sure. That sequence, where he comes on land, was freaking awesome. Where they have the news reporters on the building. I thought that was such a good throwback to the original one.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I was thinking of, like so much of just like homages, like really to the original. I mean, all the stuff happening in the water was like, yeah, it was just taking me back, but with just better CGI and effects. That was the other thing too. Is like, I think the only time the CGI kind of looked a little weird was ever it would like cut to his foot or something, like sometimes like landing. But the design though here, like it's pretty seamless. Like they still like Shin Godzilla, they still kind of stick to Godzilla not being like too animated. Like he's still kind of a monster and an animal first, and he just kind of like has a very blank stare as he's like walking around, and still has those stimpy little arms and
so slow.
Yeah.
His thighs are huge again.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're as big as in Shin Godzilla. He was a lot smaller in this one, which I liked. I liked shrinking him back down again.
Yeah, I thought that was fitting.
I can't believe the budget for this movie was $15 million.
Jeez.
That's it. And it looks better than like Marvel movies coming out today that cost like $200.
I was gonna say, yeah, like Hollywood has like way too much money to just like burn. If this is like the quality you can get out of like that kind of budget. So
yeah.
And I think that's why I think people were kind of flocking to this because it's a break from all the Hollywood trends right now. I mean, no one's talking about any of the past Marvel superhero films or Disney properties. I mean, Star Wars is pretty much tanked itself now. I don't think there's there's no appeal for any of those like this film has. Also just the Japanese influence. I think people just like that break. They want to see something that's more foreign to them. I don't know.
I think it made quite a bit of money.
Yeah, I was asking my uncle a week ago like how it did in Tokyo, and he said like, oh yeah, people are still screening it now, but like the popular stuff is still all the Disney stuff. So like he was taking my cousins to go see the new it's called like Wish or something.
Oh yeah, I heard that was trash.
Yeah.
I heard they tried to make like a Disney extended universe out of that.
Oh,
give me a fucking break.
I know that's everything. Everything's got to be a 3-hour epic. Especially this year. I was really picking up on that. But no,
Godzilla Minus One was only like 2 hours, and that flew by.
That was a perfect length. Yeah.
Also, I like Godzilla Minus One is once they destroyed Godzilla, the movie only went on for like 3 or 5 more minutes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, they're good.
I know they have to do the but Godzilla's still alive. He's still like, I mean, the only reason why they had to do that was because this is like a prequel. We know he's gonna keep Rev.
I think it would have just worked in the movie though. I liked
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah, I was fine with
Godzilla
it.
was so scary. It's got to be like you can't get rid of him that easy.
Yeah. How you doing, Godzilla?
Godzilla. Hey there, Godzilla, looking very skinny today. Don't step on me.
Oh, you know, and speaking of that character, I didn't watch any of that. What's the new show right now? I guess there's it's the Legacy Godzilla, the American one.
Oh yeah, I heard it's good, but I heard Godzilla's not really in it.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah,
because it's Kurt Russell and Wyatt Russell, playing father and son.
And I hear the human element is good in that too.
Okay, cool.
Godzilla minus one.
Well, I guess to tie that all back to Godzilla, that was actually something that I really appreciated about this new one, was just how pro Japan the movie was. Godzilla minus one. I mean, I just like, I don't know, the image or just like, you know, a band of people that are like not relying on like Japanese or US government to like fight for a cause that like benefits everybody.
Yeah, they were all the citizens.
It's just more noble, yeah.
Contrasted with Shin Godzilla, where they couldn't get anything done because it was all like that political red tape.
Exactly, yeah. Like, well, we're not doing that again.
I still actually, going back to Godzilla, I'm having a hard time figuring out where I would rank this one, because I do kind of like the cynicism of Shin Godzilla a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, man, I don't know if I liked minus one as much as like Final Wars.
Oh,
You know, like, but this is so different.
it is so, yeah.
Like with Final Wars, I just laugh my ass off and I cheer.
And it's like non-stop action too. It's just like,
Yeah, there's super soldiers in that movie.
yeah, you're like, whoa, slow down.
And this one went darker and like a darker character direction than I've seen any Godzilla movie go before, I think.
Yeah. I mean, anytime that little girl will like cry, I'm just like, stop it, movie. You're making me.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I don't know. Godzilla minus one might be, as
It
of
might be
now,
my favorite movie of the year.
Yeah, I was gonna say it might be my favorite of the year right now, honestly.
Godzilla minus one.